Today I'd like to show you the NEC NeoFace Reveal Latent Face Workstation. This workstation processes pre-recorded crime scene video and still evidence, enhances those images, and matches them against the mugshot repository. Let's run some example cases. In this case, we're going to do a new case. This would be the area where you input the case information for that particular case. We'll select an import file. At this point, we'll pick the young Boston bomber. We'll move this individual into our work area. We'll now enhance the image. This particular image would be a sharpen of the pixel. Again, you can see more pixel definition. We try a smoothing of the pixels. And here, we've smoothed the pixel definition. And we might try a histogram equalization of the image. So now I've got the original image plus the 3 enhanced images. Go back out of image enhancement, launch these for search. This is the screen where you'd put in the pre-filter information. If you know the sex, YOB, race of the individual, you can limit the search to those particular criteria. At this point, we'll just do an identify 1 to N. Each one of those became its own separate search. You can see here that the sharpened image worked the best, matching our individual in candidate position number 1 and number 2. We'll do a new case. On this particular case, we'll import another file. In this case, this is an ATM photo, low resolution. You can tell it's low resolution because of the very large red eye marker dots. So we'll enhance this image. This particular image has 15 pixels between the eyes, inter-eye pixel density. I would auto-scale this image up to a higher resolution. In this case, it scaled it up to 48 pixels between the eyes, making it a better match capability. I'd then sharpen the high resolution image. I have these 3 images now. In this particular search, I'm going to do a consolidated search where I will search all 3 images but create only 1 candidate list. And again, here's our person of interest, here's our latent face image. If you have images where the individual is not looking at the camera, what we do on these is we do a pose correct of the individual's image. And what we do here actually is we take this 2D image, put it into a 3D format. While it's in 3D, we turn the head to face forward. We put it back into a 2D image so that we can match it against the repository. Again, here's our pose corrected probe image matching to both these mug images. We'll run a new case. In this particular case, we're going to run an electronic composite. This is an electronic composite created by a program called AFIS. Match it against the repository. Now, as you can see, they look very similar. Full disclosure, I sent the company this mugshot and had them make that composite. But what I did not send them is this individual down in candidate position number 6. This is our individual of interest also. Do a new case. This particular case, I'll show the match capabilities of NeoFace matching aged individuals. This particular case is Mr. Whitey Bulger. You can see this is his mugshot from March 16th, 1953. The only enhancement I would do to this mugshot due to camera technology in the early 50s is I would smooth the pixels. And as you can see, you end up with a much smoother pixeled image. Delete the original image. Send this image off for search. I want to point out that this is Whitey's 1953 mugshot matched against his 2010 mugshot. Almost 60 years of aging, and yet NeoFace can match this individual. You can notice differences in the face, beard, no beard, age spots, much rounder face, much heavier weight than the 53. If you notice down in candidate position number 4, this is Whitey Bulger's 1987 mugshot. At this point, I want to show you some of the verification tools available. We'll import a file, bring up Mr. Jade. Mr. Jade has a very prominent facial artifact in that he has a scar on his forehead. And what I would do here is first I would show you the side-by-side images. This is tiling of the individual, and we use this to look at very specific parts of the face and look at them in detail. Just tap on the square to switch between the probe image and the mug-made image. This is overlap, a good tool for verification. Split horizontally, split vertically. This is blend. Blend goes all the way from the mug-mate to the probe, and it's a very good tool for doing your verification work. Lastly, we have annotate. Annotate is a mark and measure. At this point, I'm going to mark the top of that scar on both images and hit mark. And you can see we now have the location of those. I would also do a measure of those, also to the scar. And what we do here is we put the red at the bottom of the scar, the green at the top. And hit measure. And it'll measure our individual and give us the coordinates for those facial features. I would then take that red and move it down to the inner corner of his right eye. Do that for both images. Take the red, move it down, do it to the inner corner of his left eye for both images. Do mark and measure on both those. I've now triangulated where that facial artifact resides, and I have a distance and angle measurement for that. And that's it for verification. I want to show you video. Do a new case. Do video in this case. What we're going to do here is take multiple frames of video and create one composite image. So you move this to the point where your person of interest is. At this point you can select whether it's a 1 frame per second, 5 frame per second, or 10 frame per second capture after this frame, depending on the size of the video snippet that you've brought in. This particular one will run at 5 frames per second after this particular frame. We're going through now and the system is capturing those frames. Again, this frame plus 5 frames per second thereafter. Once we've got access to those frames, we'll import them all. We'll then go through and select frames that have different parts of the face. For example, that one, maybe one frame with a little more frontal facing, and maybe one a little more that has the other side of his face. At this point, I have these 3 frames. I'll go into Enhance. I will put a check mark in each of the frames, showing which ones will be used, and I'll hit Consolidate. Consolidate made a composite image from those 3 frames. And I know this frame, this composite looks pretty strange to the human eye, but in fact it's very data rich. It has the facial artifacts, facial information from 3 frames of video embedded in this one composite image. We'll then match that against the repository, bringing back our person of interest. I could not get a mugshot on this individual. I have his arrest photo. If I had a mugshot that was the quality of our background database, I'd match him at a higher score. But it really doesn't matter because with this much data, facial information, we're able to match this poor quality image in the #1 candidate position.
NEC, empowered by innovation.